Good morning, everyone. Well, as we know, 2020 hasn't been an easy one. And at the end of the year, I was thinking, what is one thing that we can do together that will mean something to us moving to 2021? I'm actually moving to 2021 with a lot of hope, right? I'm looking at 2020 and what happened, and I'm seeing that, okay, a lot happened, and hopefully we are taking what we learned, and that was like incredibly difficult, and we are taking it to 2021. So I thought about putting this together, right? I'm putting the goal intentions and how to set goals, because in my experience, people, when they set goals, they go through the regular SMART goals, specific, measurable, la, 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 you know what I mean? And then they take these resolutions, and statistics show that by probably end of February, 90% of the people go back to their old habits. Why? It's because no one really has the knowledge or even the idea of how the brain works when we get to goal setting. And that's what I'm going to try to do today. I'm going to try to take you on some kind of a little journey on how our brain works with the goal settings. And this is when we know how it works, we can actually set it up the right way. And actually, I'm thinking, I will ask you at the end, if what you think about it. I'm thinking to do maybe a vision board, workshop for a couple of hours in February. That could be fun doing it together. So I'm just still thinking about it. If I hear a lot of yay, I will do it, so it's just like, let's think about it. So what we're talking about today is like, where are we? What are we doing? Where did we get, how did we get here? And we're going to talk about the anatomy of a goal. And should we do a SMART goal setting or a frame goal setting? And I'm going to talk about the difference of both. Like I said, we're going to talk about the neuroscience of it, and then the principles of goal setting that we need to remember. Because people have this idea that, okay, I'm going to just put a goal. I'm going to say, I'm going to do this. Like, I want to be a millionaire. That's a goal. That's not a goal. That's maybe a vision, but a goal is actually achievable steps that as we're going to see today. And then we're going to talk about visualization and how we can use that. That's why I asked if you guys want to do like a vision board workshop, maybe in February. So Maya Angelou, that is one of my favorite people and role model in this world, has said, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. And to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style, according to Maya Angelou. So what is happening right now? We all have been through something that disrupted our life, like all of a sudden, that one day we woke up and we felt changes that have been happening that we have never been through before. I don't think that any living human being today went through whatever we went through with COVID. What happened is that whatever is going on, whatever is happening with COVID is basically something that is going to for always stay in our mind. We all suffered some kind of loss. We all have micro losses, no matter how small they are. Unfortunately, some people have suffered actually big losses where they lost some family member, but we lost life as we know it, and our life has changed forever. Like I remember when COVID started, all of a sudden I started being desperate and I started being depressed, and I'm like, oh my God, like the contracts are canceling, we're not gonna have any business, what's gonna happen? It's doom and gloom, we're all gonna die. And then we realized, and then I started thinking, oh my God, what I'm gonna do when my hair gets longer? What I'm gonna do when my nails got bad? And then I started feeling shame that I'm thinking about that when other people are actually getting sick. And now 9 months later, as you see, my nails, like they are natural, and it just like, but what I realized is that we all need to embrace the feelings that we're going through. No matter how small or how we cannot feel ashamed of our feelings. We need to sit with them. We need to embrace them, because if not, they can come back and basically disrupt our life again. It's normal to feel lost, even lost to go into a Starbucks and joke with a barista, or getting together even in the holidays right now. Anxiety and stress went really up, and some people are still sitting in that high stress because of the uncertainty that we're going through. And I want to let you know that, you know what, every single morning the sunshine or the rain comes, and it's not the end of the world. We are here and we are kept here for a reason. So let's not waste that. We all have a light. We all have a message. We all have something to contribute to this world. And only when we know what are our goals, what is our purpose in life, that we can actually help other people and light their path as well. And remember that everything that we do will be remembered, specifically if we are within a community, if we are within people, the goal setting will help us move forward instead of obsessing of what we can control. Because when we do goal setting, we are somehow controlling whatever we want to do to a big extent, rather than obsessing about what we can control. Let's talk about what we can control in a positive way. And I want to let you know that now is the time. I mean, we have been, most of us a lot of you I know personally on this webinar, and I know that most of you actually shine during this time. You looked for, like we all did, for survival in the beginning, but we took survival to a brand new level. We pivot, and I know many of you have already started their own business during this time. They saw the need, they planned, they had a goal, always the service was in their heart, and they decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So not only they survived, but they thrived, and they thrived by pivoting on whatever they were going to do. So if you have been always telling yourself, I need to start, but never had the time to do it, now is the golden time. We all have time that we can use. There is always a reason that we can find to delay or to postpone things. Now is not the time. So maybe you wanted to learn a new skill. Maybe you wanted to start your business. Maybe you wanted to try some recipes on Pinterest, or maybe you wanted to start your Instagram, or even look for a better job or make more money. All this, now you have the time to do it. And now more than ever, we are enthusiastic because it's a new year. We are looking for new hopes, new dreams. So let's discover how we can actually do that. When we go, we think about ideas and then we give up on them. We consider sometimes priorities, and sometimes our priorities are not that important because we worry about everyone else and we put ourselves on the back burner. So whatever we don't start means that we are not taking action for it. And when we don't take action, nothing will work. As I always say, ideas will stay as ideas and will die on the island of ideas if we do not take action. I don't want you to come to a point where you see someone doing something and say, oh my God, I had this idea 2 years ago, and now this person has a thriving business making a lot of money, when you had thought about that 2-3 years before. I want you now to start planning and have these goals that will lead you to whatever you feel definition as a better version of yourself. And I want to let you know, we all have a different definition of success. We all have a different definition of happiness. So let's start knowing what is it for us and start taking action on it. Maslow, that is the grandfather of motivation theory that did the hierarchy of needs, he said, when the delight of growth is greater than the anxiety of safety, we choose growth. Whenever we are trying to leap forward, our brain keeps us back in the comfort zone because it's safe. So unless the pain of staying where we are is greater than the pain that to go through change, we are not going to change. So when the anxiety of safety is greater than the joy we experience from growing, we freeze. And we're going to talk about why. So I want you to start thinking about that. Doing goals and moving forward will always push you out of your comfort zone. But as we always say, miracles happen only when you are out of your comfort zone or your status quo. So why people do not take action? I always like to go and look at the anatomy of things so we can at least understand what's going on. One, they get overwhelmed and they want to do so many things, but they don't know even where to start. Or they subconsciously, they want to feel safe and they are afraid of change, so they stay in their comfort zone. And I want to let you know that we all have vices. For example, if I want to lose weight and I want to go through a diet, and why I keep, for example, eating and not losing the weight, because my payoff is like I enjoy sweets, for example. So our brain always find an excuse why to leave us in that comfort zone. And this is something that we need to start being aware about. It's like, what is our vice? What is our payoff when we don't, like people smoke and I say, well, I smoke so I don't gain weight. You know, so we need to think, what is it is our obstacle and what vice or payoff are we getting because of that? When the desire of what we want is bigger than the pain that we go through, because changing will always engender sacrifice and pain. And it doesn't have to be a big sacrifice and it doesn't have to be a lot of pain. And people revert back on their resolutions because they don't prepare their brain that they're going to have to give up something or change something. Like, for example, if you decide to go when life gets back to normal, to go to the gym or work out even at home 3 times a week, the first time you start seeing that your muscles are aching, you're going to stop. But if you have prepared yourself that, you know what, at night, I'm preparing my workout clothing. If I have dumbbells, I'm preparing them here. You know, I'm preparing my shoes here, my towel here. You know, I prepare everything that then I'm not going to go through the pain of change. So once you start, you are unstoppable. But you need to know what will get into your way. The first step that will generate a momentum is basically that force, and it's a power force. Once we decide and we commit and we persevere, that's all we need to move forward. And I want to let you know that whatever we do as goal has to be meaningful to us. If not, it's not going to get done. But we don't find meaning, actually. We create meaning in our life. So I want you, this is the first exercise that we are going to do. I don't know if you have access to papers. I want you to take one paper and fold it in 2, or a card or anything, fold it in 2, and then in 2 more. So it will be like 4 squares. So in every square, I want you to put one dream of yours or one goal of yours that you always wanted to achieve, or something that you always wanted to reach to that you haven't done. In every square, I want you to put one. And if you can think about 4, at least 3 or 2, but we need to go through that, and then you're gonna get why we're doing this in a second. Okay, now at the back of every goal, put the reasons why you didn't do that goal, or the obstacles that stood in your way, and put as much explanations as you can on every goal on the back of the paper. In my workshops, I usually do it 8, but you know, I know for the time here, I'm doing it only 4. So now we are gonna go into what is a goal. A goal is basically something that we decide that we are trying to accomplish something through our behavior and action. Goal setting is the process that we look at our ideal future and we motivate ourselves, you know, to build that vision of future, not only a vision, but we turn it into a reality. And we know when we start goal setting, especially with intention, and there is a difference between just goal setting and intention. Intention is when we actually know our why. Why are we doing this? And only through our why that we can persevere and commit and overcome the obstacles that we have. We'll stop the distractions and we will concentrate our efforts in whatever we need to do. So people say, like I said, SMART goals, and SMART are specific, measurable, achievable, relatable to you, and time defined. These are great principles, but they're not the only principles that we can go through. A goal without a plan is just a dream. Emotionally charged, knowing your why on achieving a goal is your best motivation to success. Because in our brain, we have two centers. We have motivation centers and we have fear centers. So what happens at motivation center is basically when we put our foot on the gas pedal and move forward. The fear centers is when our foot gets on the brake and stops everything else. In case of, for example, procrastination, 90% of the studies that have been done around the psychology of goal setting, they say that when you have a specific and a challenging goals, you have higher performance and you do your best goals then. And remember, when attention is directed, all your efforts are mobilized and you persist. So saying, I'm gonna give you a lot of example of generic goals and how we can make them specific. I want to let you know that energy flows where attention goes. So wherever you decide your attention is where it needs to be, that's where your energy flows. And that's why I told Montaha right now, decide on some time, 15 minutes, commit to it. And the more attention you will pay to that, the more your energy will go to it. And only this way, only when you have your attention and energy flowing somewhere, opportunities will arise. Because this is how our brain works. Our brain concentrates on what we give it as important. For example, if you just bought a red car, do you notice that now all the cars that your brain notices are red cars? It's because our brain drops everything that we deem unimportant and concentrates only on what we tell it it's important. So again, energy flows where attention flows. Courage doesn't involve just saying, yes, I'm going to do it, but it also involving saying no to distraction. Saying no to other people's priorities, saying no to not put yourself first. Remember, if you cannot afford having electricity in your own home, you cannot help other people have utilities in their home. You cannot give what you do not have. So that's why it's very important to know what you want and to have your priorities. That doesn't mean like being selfish and pushing people away, but self-care and helping others are not exclusive to each other. It's just how we set our priorities. And only when you set up your own intentions and focus on what you want, that the right opportunities, the doors will open. I believe people say, okay, I'll wait till opportunity knocks my door. And people that hustle, like most of us here, if not all of us as entrepreneurs, we knock on the opportunities doors because we set intentionally our goals and go look for these opportunities. And only when we focus on that, the opportunities will start popping up. And when we start doing that, you will feel people coming, network around you, mentors that want to help you, coaches that want to help you, and that will help you on the fastest path. There is an African proverb that says, if you want to go slow, go by yourself. But if you want to go fast, have a tribe. I mean, this is not word by word, but it's like, if you want to go fast, have people that support you, have people that help you, and always ask for help. There is nothing wrong with asking for help. Decide on what you want, don't let anyone else decide what's important in your life. Remember, you are the designer of your destiny. You design your destiny, how you want it to be, or what will it be. Ralph Waldo Emerson, another great philosopher, said, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. I mean, look at the words. Also, it was said in The Alchemist, the book The Alchemist, it says, when you want something really bad to happen, the whole universe will conspire to make it happen. So always remember, energy flows where your attention goes. And that's why when we set our goals, we have to pay attention. That's why intentions are important. That's why manifesting what you want is important. Having intentions on why we want to do things is important. So I'm going to ask you to write this down, but we're going to discuss it in another exercise. I want you to brainstorm maybe 2 or 3 goals that you want to achieve in the next 2 years. And don't think about it. Just write them as fast as you can. Go with your gut when you write about it. You know, and then choose the top 1 or 2 or 3 of these goals that actually make you excited even to think about it. Okay? And then leave a space to go back later on and explain why you want to do them and why you will achieve them within the next year. So brainstorm a list of goals. So for the sake of time now, write 2 or 3 without thinking. Just write your gut. What is important to you? Don't think about siblings. Don't think about family. Don't think about anybody else. Don't think about your boss. Think about yourself. What are 3 main goals that you want to achieve in the next 2 years? Then put them in priority. And the priority that makes you excited, right? And then write a paragraph or leave a space for a paragraph to explain why you want to have them and why you know that you will achieve them in the next 12 months. And we're going to come back to that to discuss that at the end of the workshop. I'll give you a couple of minutes to write them down now. So I'm going to start with the really quick, in a simple way, the neuroscience of how our brain works. And this way we can work with that to set intentional goal setting, basically. When we concentrate on what we want and not what you think you need, not what you think, because whatever goal that are even a necessity, we can turn them to be some desire that we need to achieve. And I know that there is somehow a difference between necessity and desire, but if we can combine them together by finding the why we want to achieve them, we can have a little bit more passion to achieve them, and it could be a win as well. So that's why we need clarity on what and why and how we want to achieve everything, as well as the intention. And I want to let you know that when we have a clear set goal, our motivation, our brain starts working, and our brain secretes a chemical called dopamine. And dopamine is actually our happy hormone. So when we kind of focus on a goal that we know is clear with good intentions, we get happy and we get euphoric, because a clear goal in our brain is exactly like when you put an address in your GPS in the car. You're giving your brain a direction where to go. Again, energy flows where attention goes. Okay, setting goals can also, yes, the motivation centers can work and they can become excited and happy, but it can also send alarms to the brain because of fear that can put a brake on your motivation. And that's why we need to make sure to know our why, so our motivation levels will become higher than our fear. Because again, fear masquerades is like a chameleon. It masquerades in so many forms. Fears of loss, of achievement, fear of success, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of ridicule, fear of people not liking you. There are so many things that happen in our subconscious that are unbelievable. Superficial goals that say, like, I just want to be a millionaire, doesn't work. I want to succeed in life, doesn't work that way. I want to have a successful business. What does a successful business mean? Does it mean that I want to help 50 clients next year to achieve more than $2 million a year, to employ 10 people full-time, to have a great team? Now that goal of a successful business is becoming like a picture that I can see, that can make sense. And only when we have a vision of that dream that we can actually do the process to achieve it. Knowing your why and the deep reason why you're doing what you're doing is what will get your motivation to achieve it. And if you don't want to know like more why is important, I'm sure that most of you saw it, but I would really advise that you look at Simon Sinek, TED Talk, Finding Your Why. And once you find your why, I invite you to dig 5 more levels to remove the layers. Like, why do you want your business to be successful? You get an answer. And for example, because I want to make money. The second why do you want to make money? Because I want to help people. Why do you want to help people? Because I'm here to serve people, and helping them achieve something will have a better community. Why do you want to have a better community? And so far, you take it 5 levels down. Why? 5 whys. The why will clarify to your brain the fog, and it will show it. Again, it's the address in the GPS, what is required for you to do so you could overcome the doubt, the fears, and the anxieties. And that's why I asked you in that exercise to leave a space later on to discuss your why. And only you know your why, but your why has to go to the core. It has to be deep. And most importantly, you have to be very honest with yourself. How do you find your why? There are 3 questions that you need to ask. Why I'm doing this? And only you knows the real answer. I mean, a coach, a mentor, a friend can help you clear the fog, but only you can find that answer. You will never achieve your intentional goal and keep it going till it becomes a habit, till you know why you're doing what you're doing. And then you ask your question, do I really want to do this? And then what do I want to do? Why I'm doing this? Do I want to do this? And what do I want to do? Remember that. That's finding your why. And we are not going to have intentional goals and actually achieve them unless we have a meaning. And again, I want to remind you, we don't find a meaning. We create a meaning that is important to us. So there are 3 important things to look at when we are trying to set a goal. Like I said, setting a goal is not like what everybody, just put a SMART goal and you're done. And that's why a lot of people, the resolution don't go through, because they don't go through the basics of intentional goal setting. So the first thing is coherence of these goals together and with your life. 2, your purpose or your why. 3, the significance of these goals in your life. And these 3 points, coherence, purpose, and significance, are basically under the umbrella of motivational and cognitive processes in your brain. That's what will help you put your foot on the gas pedal and not allow the brakes or the fear to take over. So when you have coherence, purpose, significance, you can have a better goal direction, and it motivates you, because coherence, it makes sense to you. Purpose, I want you to think about purpose, like what legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want people to remember you by? Like imagine, Stephen Covey, in his 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, says it in a morbid way. He says like, you're dead and someone sees your, your grave and whatever is written on it, what do you want it to say? But I take it in a less morbid thing, and I say, you are in your retirement plan. Your retirement party. And someone gets on that podium and praises you and your character and what you have achieved in your life. What would you want them to say? I want you to make note of that, because this is important. So what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? Because once you have the end result or the end of your journey, you can work it backwards to where you are now and actually set meaningful and intentional goals on how to achieve your end destination. Start with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey had said. So goal direction will motivate you, will give you purpose, and will give you significance in your life. Then mattering. Mattering is basically, why does it matter in my life? And that's why I asked you, you need to ask, why do I want to do this? And it makes sense in your life, and it will give you that significance into your life. So let's look at ways that we can find your own meaning. And that's why even goal setting is about discovering who we are on the inside, who we are at the core, and what are our values, what are our non-negotiables. And I want you to start thinking about that, because if goals are not aligned with our values, they will not work, right? Like, for example, if I value integrity and honesty, and then there are ways that I want to make money, my goal is to make money, but there are ways to make money that are not very direct or very honest, and I can make them by duping people or something. It's not aligned with my values. Even if I go through that route, I will be unhappy and my goals will falter no matter what. And that's why we need to always know what are our non-negotiables, and we all have some. We need at least to know our 3 non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are the 3 values that 3 or 4 values that we draw a line in the sand, that no matter what happened, we are not going to cross it. I'm going to look at the chat in a second. I just need to finish the idea. So you foster a purpose or your why or your legacy, because purpose has in its own niche your passion, and your passion is your flow of action or your desire. And motivation, again, motivation is something that will push you to do activities that on the surface are dull, like washing dishes. But passion is that driving force that will, passion is when people say, I see that sprinkle in your eyes when you talk about something, or I see that your whole face starts smiling when you talk about it. What is your passion? What is that flow? What passion is when you do something every single day, even if you are not paid for it. What is that passion? And your passion will help you go through your purpose and will improve behavior and will make you function like crazy. So to achieve your goal, like I said, we need to know the why. And once we know the why, and I keep repeating that because it's the most important part in goal setting, you can, when you know your why, you are ready to pay the price for discomfort. And everything that we do, we have to be prepared that we will pay a price for it. My husband always says this: you cannot be a member of a club if you are not willing to pay the membership fees, right? So we need to prepare ourselves, and everything that we need, life is not going to come and give it to us like that. There is a price to pay, and we need to be ready for that price to pay, no matter how it looks. So our brain, the survival brain, or the amygdala, is basically what evaluates the goals and keep us for protection in our comfort zone. But the front of the brain is what makes us think and define basically the specific of it. So the clarity of the goals makes our survival brain that cause us the fear of fight, flight, or freeze. When it's clear about that, it actually, in a very rare occasion, will work with our thinking part. And this way, it can ignore the adversities or can avoid situations that can be actually obstacles in your own brain. And that's why motivation, clarity, and commitment are important for the GPS in our brain to work. So going back to the exercise that we did before, I want you to take one goal of these 3 goals and now put a date on when you want to achieve. I always, when I work with my clients, I always tell them, okay, they tell me, I want to do this, I want to build a website, I want to have a funnel, I want to coach a client. Fine, give me a date. Whatever is not on your calendar will never happen. So when we want to have goals, we need to have them on our calendar. So take one goal that is important to you and put a date. And then Write one obstacle that can get into the way. Whatever you tell yourself. I don't have money, I don't have support, I don't have time, I don't have skills. No matter what it is, put that obstacle. And once you write down that obstacle, you set the intention on overcoming it because you see it. You know it exists, so your brain will find a way to help you to overcome that. And I want to let you know that anything is created in this life is created twice. Once in your brain, and then you reproduce it in real life. And that's why it's important to dream first, but put a deadline to that dream so it becomes a goal. And once you have it, once you see it in your brain and you reflect it in your real life, the brain will acknowledge it and will help you overcome the obstacle. And again, that knowledge can stop the fear, procrastination, because procrastination, some people see it as laziness, but it's not really laziness. It's actually, again, fear. And like I always say, eat the frog. Start with something that makes you, that you don't want to do, that you feel like you don't want to start with, or scares you or gets you overwhelmed. Start with it first thing in the morning. So the rest of your day will be free to do whatever you want. And if you have two frogs, start with the ugliest one, meaning start with the task that most overwhelm you. Intentions, which has your why. So SMART, like we said, I believe in something called frame rather than SMART. Frame, the F means fantasize. Go as a child, wildest dream, because the bigger the dream that we dream, the goal that we dream of, the more we can achieve of it. I mean, don't put yourself in small dreams. And I always tell people, if you are a small business owner, don't let being a small business owner makes you small-minded. Dream big. Dream about, increasing your business to 100 employees, to 100 millions. Dream big. And once you have that goal, that should not stay there. Like I said, being a millionaire is not really a goal. Right? So how do I achieve my first million? How do I achieve so I break it down. How do I achieve my first $500,000? Then I break it down. How do I achieve my first $250,000? I break it down. How do I achieve my first 100,000? And then I take the big goal and I start dividing it into manageable tasks that I can actually do. And when we fantasize, it needs to be a little bit challenging so we can thrive to do it. And then we bring that fantasy into reality, and that's why we start setting the smaller, we cut it in smaller tasks. And then with clarity, we aim, that's the A, aim high and balance between your fantasy and reality. And then the method is basically how you're going to accomplish this, and commit. You can have someone help you. You can write it down. You can start with your intention. You can start with your why. You can start a journal, and start basically journaling the steps. And then you evaluate where you are. And this way you can calendar it and you can measure it. So these are principles of goal setting. I'm going to go through them really fast so I can answer all your questions. Number one, unlock your potential and unleash your creativity. I believe that we all have all the answers inside of us. So we need, in order to accomplish it to our future, we need to unleash our creativity and tap into that intelligence that we have so we can achieve our goals and not be scared. We need to take charge of our life to create our own future. Remember, life will throw at you things that curveballs like COVID. We never expected it will happen, but we own 100% our reactions to that. We are the master of our universe. We decide what's the outcome that we want to have. And that's why we can create our own future and take charge of our life. We need clarity, because without, if you are driving and you want to go to somewhere, if you don't have a clear address, no matter how you use your GPS, you will not get there. And that's why we need clarity of your values and what you need to achieve. Analyze how you talk to yourself. Do you talk to yourself as like, I'm a failure, I will never get that, I don't have enough time, no one understands me? Are you living in a victim mode? You know, how do you believe in yourself? How do you believe in your abilities? How the world around you works, and what is your biggest obstacles? Because when we know what to expect, we can work around it. There is always a way that we can work around it. But the most important part is to believe in ourselves. We all have doubts. And when we get that fear and when we get these doubts, we need to embrace it and sit with it, claim it, name it, analyze it, and then move with it. And then get rid of toxic people in your life. You're going to have people that will tell you it's not achievable, it's not going to happen. But I want to let you know that everything is doable. And that's why you need to start at the beginning. And we always say, slow down so you can go fast. Slow down in the beginning, prepare what you need to prepare, get the help that you need, get the mentors, get the coaches, get the friends that can support you so you can go fast into the future. Manage your time, whatever is not on. Brendan Burchard says this: if you don't calendar something, if you don't see it on your calendar, it's not going to happen. Managing your time. And when you do your calendar, do it in increments of 15 minutes, not an hour. Increments. Your time is valuable, okay? So you need to make sure that you do it in increments of 15 minutes. And Brendan Burchard says, whatever is not on your calendar that you cannot see will not happen. So even if you have to make a phone call to follow up on something, put it on that calendar. Like I use Google Calendar, and all of my calendars go to my Google Calendar. And this way I don't miss anything. I use the tasks, I use the Google Calendar. So please, whatever you have in mind, calendar it. And this way it will work. And then visualize your plan. Dream, dream, dream. Like I said, have a journal where you have basically everything that you need to have and to do. Most importantly, have faith and persevere. Sometimes not everything will happen in the time that you want it to happen, but know that everything that happens, there is a lesson for us to learn. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Have faith that whatever you're going through is going for a good reason, even if you fail to see it at the time. Later on, it will manifest itself, why it had happened. And most importantly, measure your progress and reward yourself, no matter what it is. Like I have been going on a journey of changing lifestyle and changing my eating, and I lost like a really good amount of weight. So guess what? We're not going anywhere. And I still ordered a couple of new dresses. That's my reward to me, because when I got these dresses and I looked at myself in the dress, I'm like, oh my God, that looks good. So it motivates me to move forward again. And this is one of the things that people don't do. They do not reward themselves when they achieve a goal. So no matter what your small wins are, you need always to reward yourself. Okay. So I want to ask you now, this was basically the slides that I want to share with you, but I want you to sit very comfortably in your chair. And I want you to close your eyes and start taking deep breath. Inhale from the nose on the count of 4, hold it for the count of 4, and then you exhale from your mouth in the count of 8. So we're going to start right now. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. I want you to take yourself where you want to be in 3 years. I want you to start thinking where you are. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you smell? Who is around you? What are you talking about? What is it that you see? And I want you to stay there for a few seconds. Take as much details as you can. Look at the colors around you. What are the smells around you? What are the sounds around you? How do you feel? Is the sun touching your skin? How do you feel in your heart? I want you to stay there. Okay, you can guys come back. Most of you, by the way, had a smiling face, just to let you know. Most of you were smiling doing this. So did we see anything? Yes, no? And I know sometimes if you do it for the first time, it's not like, when I did it the first time, my brain was wandering all over the place. I couldn't like really concentrate anything. But now it's more direct, you know, I could go. So I want you, before you forget, write down. Write down what you felt, what you thought, what you smelled, what you heard, who you were with, the colors, where were you? And I want to remind you that vision without action is merely a dream. And action without a vision just passes time. And vision with action can basically change the world. And that's why you need to put intention in your vision.